Alright, so let's see here. I'm going to get the chat up and running. Let's see if I can figure this out. I haven't been around for a while. Sorry about that. It's been around for a while. Sorry about that. Oh. Okay, well, I found my video. And there's the chat. Alright. Yeah, it's been very busy around here, and unfortunately, just haven't had a whole lot of time, but luckily today I had some time on my lunch, so I'm going to be showing you guys a new little coloring. So before we get started, I did want to show you, I have been coloring, you know, at night. Unfortunately, I don't have studio lamps, so when I'm coloring at night, it's really not conducive to video. The light's just not good enough, but I have been coloring, so I'll show you what I've been up to lately if you don't check me out on Instagram. So this is a page I did. This is from a beautiful book called Flowers and Gems by Grazia Salvo, and lovely book, highly recommended. It's spiral bound, has lots of lovely illustrations. I've already kind of destroyed a few, you know, with my experiments, but there's that one there. I also colored a page from, this is from Annie Stegg's book, Moonlit Vale. Beautiful. I have both the Kickstarter hard copy and also the PDF. So I printed this out on cardstock. So you can see it's got a lot of sparkle and glimmer, so that was fun. And then another page that I just finished recently is from the book Zemlja Snova. And, oh, hello Natalie, welcome, thank you. And so this is another page that I just recently finished from Zemlja Snova. So, and I love this book. So there's that. So today I just wanted to show you, this has been a page that's been requested. A friend of mine actually asked me to do this page. It's from my own coloring book, Bluebell Woods. And I thought that I would just kind of go through the basics of how to start a page in markers, because that's something that I've been doing a lot recently. Well, hello Shalene, how are you? Welcome. So I have a bunch of different markers here that I'll just sort of, I'm just kind of getting them out. So I keep them in these marker bags, or however you want to call it. But it's getting to be quite a lot of colors. Oh my. Kind of a klutz, as you can tell. Alright, so we have lots of markers here. I have both the alcohol-based Copics and yay, I'm so glad that you guys are here with me. And how is everybody doing? You know, how's your day going? What are you working on? I'm just curious. I haven't been around for a while. So I have, anyway, I have these Copics that my sister lent me, and there's a couple of nice colors. Unfortunately, this color's almost dried out, so I probably won't be able to use it for the demo, which is a shame. But, yep, so we have those there, and then I have a whole bunch of water-based Tombows. So I've been working with marker a lot recently, so I'm just going to start pulling colors that I think I'm probably going to use, and just sort of go from there. So I just wanted to show you guys the beginnings of a marker page, because that's something that's been really asked of me a lot on Instagram, but I just recently started working in markers about I would say a couple weeks ago, or actually maybe a month or two ago is when I really started seriously experimenting with them, and I just found that I really love them. I didn't realize what I've been missing my whole life, so I thought, now I'm addicted. I can't stop working in marker. And a bunch of people have asked me like how I work in them, and but I really haven't felt comfortable because I'm so new to them until the past couple of pages I've been working mostly in markers, so I feel a little bit better now. Okay, so the reason why I start in marker first and then transition to pencils is mostly because I don't have a whole lot of colors yet. But I did pull this set of colors. It's just mostly a bunch of neutrals like grays and browns. And then I do have some blues and some greens, but you can see I have a very limited palette. I'm going to show you guys the colors that I'm pulling just so that if you want to go buy these, you can. But most of these colors are from the landscape palette and the portrait palette and the grayscale palette, because those are the ones that I have. But I have here the Tombow number 526, Tombow N45, we've got 969, N65, 912, 420 or 493, sorry, 528, N75, 947, 228, N60, N57, 899, and 977. So those are the colors that I pulled that I thought I would use. I will show you what I'm using as I go, but I thought if you are following along with me and you just want to pull some colors, those are the ones that I'll be working with. Let me just get a scrap. Okay, so since I'm still really new to these markers, I also tend to swatch and scrap a lot, so I'm just going to have those there for me. Other than that, I'm just going to get started. So this is a page, it's a landscape from my book, Bluebell Woods, and it's kind of complicated and there's a lot of depth, and so someone asked me just to kind of show them, you know, how I would approach it. So start from background to foreground, and sometimes I start from foreground to background. And I wanted to go through like my approach to how I start these things. So I'm actually going to also just really quick before I really get going here, I just want to talk about that because I know that it's sort of like everybody's different and everybody approaches coloring different, but I figured I just kind of walk through how I pick how I'm going to start. So there's like pages like this where there's a very simple background and really the main focus is in the foreground, like this with the clouds in the background. So for a page like this, I would probably end up choosing to do the background first, and the reason why is because I'm not a very clean colorist. You can see this is from another project, but I don't know how I get my hands dirty. So I tend to work in the areas that have the less detail first. So that way, if I'm smudging with my hand as I'm going over the main image, at least it's like a background and it's not really important. So like with this situation, the clouds can be a little fuzzy or soft and it won't damage the drawing at all. So that's the way I would choose to work on this piece. What I would do is I would do the clouds first, get that all done, and then really work probably in actually the lesser important areas first, and then I finally go to the most important areas. So I'd probably leave this little guy and the face till mostly the last bit. But for a page like this, which has a lot going on and there's a lot of interplay between the foreground and background and there's a lot of stuff going on, what I would recommend is actually working from the foreground to the background. And it's more difficult. I tend to actually, that's why I have two pieces of paper. One is for my hand and one is for scrapping. And the reason why is because I'm going to need that to keep myself from getting the page dirty in my hand all messed up. But the reason why I'm going to choose to work from foreground to background now is because there are a lot of elements in the foreground and it will be easier to make sure that I get all of that in correctly and don't go over the foreground with the background that way, if that makes sense. So hopefully that kind of helps you. That was a question that's been asked of me many times. So hopefully that helps explain sort of how I approach where to start on a page. Also, if I'm working on a page which I'm really nervous about one particular spot, then I'll tend to work on that spot first. Because if I get it out of the way, then I can enjoy the rest of the page without any stress. So I do tend to prioritize things that I'm... Oh, okay. I don't know why that happened. I think I'm back. Looks good. Sorry about that. So what I was saying is for like a portrait, I would most likely choose to do the eyes first because I feel like the eyes are the most important part of a portrait. So I do tend to, I don't, these are no hard and fast rules. I'm just giving you suggestions, you know, the ways that I kind of approach things. So anyway, so I'm going to get started, and I have this N60, so this is like a really pale, I'll swatch it just so you can see, it's like a pale bluey gray. So what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to go in and, because I don't really draw flowers a whole lot, flowers actually make me nervous. I'm more comfortable drawing people than flowers. So I'm going to go in and actually start working on the bluebells right away. And for this, I'm choosing to have a very backlit scene. So I'm probably going to have, actually I know, I'm going to have the light coming from the top. Let's see, we've got a little butterfly here. Actually, I want the light to come from the top left. So it'll be coming down this way. So that way it'll hit the butterfly pretty nicely and make him glow. So because it's coming from behind and down, I'm going to just work with my Tombows. Let's see if you guys can see. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. I'm going to work with my Tombows, keeping that in mind. And I know that this is gray and not blue. I will make them blue later. However, I don't have a whole lot of blue markers, so I'm actually going to do most of the shading in gray and then come back over it with blue colored pencils. I do have some blues, but they are so bright and not very subtle, so I don't know if they will work for this, but I brought them out in case. Yep, so I'm just sort of trying to establish where the lights and the darks will go. And my marker work always looks really terrible at first, and so if yours does too, don't worry about it, just stick with it, because I find that, you know, there were a couple of marker pieces where it looked really bad, and I thought I was going to give up on it, but I continued and kept going, and I actually found that I was able to work with it. So anyway, you're not alone. Alright, so let's see who's in the chat here. We've got Cheshire Cat. Hello, welcome. Alright. So what is everybody working on? Do we have any pages in progress right now? And I'm going to rotate the page because that's how I work. Okay. So the key with markers is brush strokes. You can see I'm deliberately choosing where my lines go. And I'm not just shading, like I'm not like just coloring the whole area. I'm really trying to pick and choose. Let's see, so here's another spot. Right here, where there's some bluebells. So I'm just sort of picking all of the flowers first and going through and applying the same treatment to all of them. This will help them keep consistent. However, you'll see when I go towards the background layers, I will change the color. Let's see. Painting rocks to hide. Well, what does that mean? Do you mean you're painting them and then hiding them? And then Shalene says, mandala using gel pens. Ooh, that sounds fun. I have a mandala book. I should get it back out again. I haven't done it in a while. Let's see. I hide them in the park and other people find them. That's so cute. How lovely. It kind of reminds me of those like art drops. There's this one guy, a local artist in my area, and he does a similar thing where he'll create art and then just drop it off in places, and it's for free. People can just go ahead and take it. Ooh, big wind today. Pardon me. My blinds there are really shaken up. Okay. Alright, and then we've got some over here. So I'm just kind of poking through. Yeah, that really does sound like fun. So I guess you just like pick up river rocks, Cheshire, or do you like buy your rocks, or how do you go about acquiring them? Like, do you have to sand them down before you paint them? Or is it like, I guess you pick smooth rocks to paint on? Okay, and then there's this bit. Let's see. So we've got this guy here. And coloring inside the lines is optional. That's my opinion. Let's see. Let's see. Oh, okay. You buy 30-pound rocks. That's cool. Huh. That's a great idea. It's fun. Alright, so then we've got... And there's this guy here. Okay. Nice, Natalie. That's fun. Okay, where am I? Here we go. So then now we've got these bluebells. Now we're starting to like go back in space, so I'm gonna hold off on those. But okay, so I'm gonna swap over. What color is this? You guys see? It's quite dark, but I think I only have 2 greens. Let's see. Yep, that one's darker. Okie doke. So what I'm going to do is only go in the darks for the greens, and I'll leave the rest to colored pencil for the light. And now with Tombows, they do tend to look streaky on the first pass, but once you go through and go over them again, the streaks go away. I'll just carry that right through. Printer didn't print to the edge. Okay, so this guy here, it's going to be in the light, and that's going to be in the dark. Alright, let's see. Oop. I got the name of our town like Harris. Cool! That's really cool, Cheshire. So, that's really smart putting your Facebook on there, so that way people can actually find you too, so that they know where it came from. Okay. Am I coloring off screen again? I'm sorry, guys. I've had quite a day. I'm also sort of out of practice at the whole video stuff. Alright. So, with that. That's so sweet, Cheshire. I love that idea. So now what I'm doing is I'm just like going through and giving the base color. You guys, oh, hello cutie. We've got little Miss Abby here as usual. Okay, sorry guys. Hi. She wants to investigate. Let me pull out the camera. Hi. Abby always wants to be on camera. Come here. Come here, silly. Cutie. Alright. Come on. Come here. Oh. Snuggle bunny. Alright. I can still do this one-handed. Right, Em? Oh yeah, she's a sweetheart too. She's a sweetie. If I don't have her in my arms all the time, then she comes and finds me. But right now she seems to really okay. You really want to see what's going on here, huh? Here, I'll show you guys. Hi, Abby. Alright, we've got Kitty in the mix. Sorry guys, it's a live feed, as you know. So we don't have total control over what's going on. Come here. Come here. Yeah, that's good. Well, we'll see what happens. So sorry for the interruption. Hello, May. Welcome. All right. Okay, so where were we before? Oh, yeah, right here. All right. Yeah, welcome, May. So good to see you. see. Oh, I should zoom back in, huh? Oh, not that much. Too much. Okie doke. Uh-huh. Yep, so I'm working with a base color of markers first, May, and then I'm gonna go back in and go over it with some colored pencil too. So this will be quite a fun little video, hopefully, for you. And we'll see how much we get to. But I'll probably do a couple of these marker and coloring pencil videos just to show you guys how I work this way. Let's see. Oh, Cheshire, yeah. Kind of tough to find beach rocks in Ohio. That would be a trick, though, if you managed it. I love these brush pens because they really do give me the different widths that I need. Okay. This guy here. So I hope that everyone is coloring or enjoying some sort of color artsy project while they're watching. Hopefully you get to do your own little project too. Oh, went outside the lines. That's okay. Let's grab these leaves here right behind there so we could do them the same type of color scheme. So there's a principle in art that I'm going to be using today in this coloring page. It's called atmospheric perspective, but the name really isn't important, or even the technical information about it, although I can go through that if you want. But the main key principle is just that if you look at any landscape where you can see quite a ways, you'll notice that in the foreground the colors are brighter and more vibrant, and as you go into the distance they become less bright and less vibrant. And that's just having to do with some technical things with the water particles and the air diluting the color, because you're seeing the particles. Okay, so I'll go through the technical if you guys want. So the atmosphere that like the objects that are closer to you, the light that you're observing passes through less atmosphere, less water particles, and less like other molecules too, I guess. And then the light that's farther away, the things that are a lot farther away, the light that passes through the atmosphere has to go through a whole lot more different things, if you will, like different atmospheric chemicals. So what you'll find is that if you notice, like on, and this happens in fog especially, so this fog is a really good example of extreme atmospheric perspective, because the objects that are close to you are darker and more vibrant, and it's very easy to see. And then as you go farther and farther away from yourself, I mean, as the objects go farther and farther away from you, you'll notice that they disappear almost. If it's really good fog, then it'll do that. So that's what I'm going to be using here. So all of the colors that I'm going to use in the beginning, in the front of this piece, will be much darker and more vibrant, and then as I go back in space, I'm going to start using the colored pencil and using a lighter touch. And that's why it's that atmospheric perspective principle. And you can apply that, you know, guide or rule or whatever to just about any page or piece of art that has a nice view, if you will, like a good distance. And especially with objects that repeat. So you can see this in like cityscapes really well, where you have like a lot of buildings that look the same, but they're all, you know, at different distances away. Anyway, so that's what I'm going to be showing you guys. Hopefully I can get some of this good stuff done for you. Okay, so that's... Oh, it got cut off. I must not have printed this very well. Well, I'm going to turn that into a leaf. That one might be in more light. And what I like about the markers is that they're much faster. Me getting this color down, I would already be like an hour into the video by now just doing this work. So yeah, I really like it. I feel like it cuts my coloring time down. Alright, another thing I like about the Tombows is that the more layers you put down, it really does darken it. So you can get some nice gradation from it. It does dry lighter though, so that is something to keep in mind. With the, I think all markers are like that though, because the Copics do that too. Oh hi May. I'm using, this is 110 pound matte cardstock. It's the same paper that my book is printed on. I just wanted a loose page because my book, the page under this page in my book has quite a lot of buckling because I really, I threw so many watercolor washes on it that I couldn't even, I like oversaturated the paper. Even 110 pound cardstock only takes so much water. So it was kind of hard. I didn't want to deal with that when I was videoing. Okay, now I've got kind of the base of these guys. I'm going to switch over. Let's see if I have a Copic that will look nice with these. I'm not really sure. Yeah, you got it. Anytime. That might be a nice lighter version. And that's way too dark. Yeah. That might be nice for the ones up front. Okay, so just because I'm using Tombows doesn't mean I can't use Copics over them. So that's what I'm gonna do. Wait, let me zoom in. Where are we here? Sky. See. Alright, so then you can see I'm just putting the Copic right over the Tombows. They don't blend the Tombows the same way they blend the Copics together. But they do kind of soften the lines, and it's kind of cool. I have found that they do work quite nicely together, so that's fun. Goodness, I don't know if you guys can hear. There's like a school next door, but I guess they're on some kind of game or something. I think I could use this darker blue actually. Oh, so the Copics I'm using are B93, this guy, and B45. Oh, that's good. Yeah, I don't mind it at all either. Honestly, I don't even notice it most of the time. Yeah, that's quite nice. Good. All right. So let's swap back over. So I'm just, oop. Haven't quite gotten used to these yet. Sorry guys. Still learning, but I thought we could all learn together. Why not? So I think this is like maybe the 5th or 6th marker page I've done. So I'm still very new. But I feel like I'm getting the hang of it better. I feel like it's not as much of a mystery to me anymore. Okay, we've got this here. Let's create some contrast between these two. And again with these two. And actually, I think I will go, yep, that's close. Go ahead and, what's this look like? Yep. Alright, so then I'm going to introduce this Tombow 528. And I didn't realize we're already a half hour in. Time flies when you're having fun. So what I'm going to do is I will show you how I do them at this depth. And then I'm going to work on, I'll finish a couple full ones, a little bit more in the distance. I just want to get at least a good demo of a couple of different depths in this one video. And then hopefully I'll be able to record it and finish it off for you guys in video. Kind of like how that created a nice like blend. So now I'm swapping back over to the B45. I'm just going to blend that out a little. Okay, and then swapping back over to the Tombow 528. So the difference between the Copics and the Tombows I've noticed is that the Copics, they blend very well together. So like when you're using just Copics, they really work well together and they blend really nicely. Like you can create some nice little skin blends and stuff. But they do go through the paper, so let me just, I'll zoom out and show you guys what's happening here on the back of the page. So you can see anywhere that I use the Copic is coming through, and anywhere that I use the Tombow doesn't come through. The Tombows, they really are, like if you'll see, I'll zoom again, they really are much more difficult to get a nice, perfectly solid, smooth surface. So I use them more for textured objects that are very, how you say, like they're not supposed to be smooth. So that's kind of how I pick which. Okay, so I've got this Bluebell set pretty much ready for colored pencil. So you can see how I would just apply that to these guys too. So I'm gonna go and step back to this level. Oh, I forgot to wait before I go. Sorry. Yeah, it's this color. I forgot some leaves. Sorry. That happens to me all the time. Okay. I just don't want to have to remember what color that was. Okay. So now I'll swap back down to this level here. So that way you guys can see how I would apply the flower marker to these faraway distant ones that are going to be lighter. So now I've swapped over to the N60 Tombow, and this is the light color, but it's not the totally the lightest color. It's the same one that we started with here, but I'm only going to do the very dark darks with this, so that way it still ties the two areas together a little bit, but it's not, going to be exactly the same. I'll show you. Okay. Oh, and we've got this guy and that. That's fine. Okay, and then now I'm going to switch to this really light, really pretty B60. It's what is that? pale blue-gray. Yep. And then I'm only going to put a small, very small touch of this Copic B93. I'm going to put that just in the dark shadows here in just some places to oh, thank you guys. Thank you, Cheshire. I like that. I like that Bluebell so much, so that's why I did the whole book around it. But I actually have very little practice with coloring flowers, so it's good to do this. I'm not gonna lie, this video made me a little nervous to do. Just because I was concerned about messing up on camera live. But so far I'm doing okay. Okay. So I don't know if you guys can see the difference, but these guys are going to be a lot punchier and a lot brighter and darker at the same time. And that's pretty much where I'm going to leave it for these guys. So it's almost like this. So basically the background ones are going to be without the darker shading. So now I'm going to go through and let me show you how I'm going to, let me think about this here. What else do you guys want me to, something that you want me to show in the page? Like, do you want me to go through like how I do the tree bark with the markers or the butterfly? Like, is there something that you guys, I think I've pretty much covered how I would approach all the flowers. So then, yeah, let me show you how to do, I guess the tree. This is a pretty dramatic part of the page. So I'll go through. So I have several different browns because I have the portrait palette, so that's kind of nice. Let me just see what I'm working with here. Okay. Alright, so I'm going to apply the same rules to the tree as I will the flowers. So I'm going to start well, thanks, May. You've just made me feel a whole lot better. It is hard to do, though. I'm going to say, of all the things, videoing is probably the most difficult for me. And it's not because of you guys, because I love chatting with you, but it's mostly just the fear of, I mean, I'm not perfect, so I do make mistakes, and I'm also a little clumsy, so those two combinations can be kind of intimidating for a live stream, but I'm just working through that as I go. It'll be alright. So again, keeping in mind my light source, I'm going to have the darkest part of the tree, and I'm just extending this past. When I printed this, I must have chosen the wrong settings or whatever, because it's not quite right, but that's okay. We will make it all work. So I'm just using some of these lines as a guide, but you can see that with my work, I tend to not worry too much about the lines. I just use them as a general guideline or an idea of how I want to do it, but I feel like really the decisions are with the colorist to make it however they want it, so yeah, you can deviate from the line work, and that's totally cool too. And I'm staying zoomed out here only because it's kind of a larger area, so I'd be moving around quite a lot with the, I don't want to give you guys dizzy spells. Yeah, well, you know, we're all hard on ourselves. I think we're all our own hardest critics, right? We always, you know, it is what it is. Okay, so that's like the base darks. I'll go and check out. Do you have your videos on YouTube, Shalene? I'll have to go check them out. Well, I don't know if you're like me, but I tend to be so forgiving and look kindly upon others, and then when it comes to my own work, I'm very tough on myself. Always trying to do better, which isn't always a bad thing, but it can be prohibitive sometimes. I'll have to go check out your YouTube channel. That's great. Thanks for telling us. Oh, I'm sorry. I've totally forgot. So I'm using 977 from the Tombow set. Just sort of going through and filling in the light areas with this tree here. And you can see I kind of give priority to the lighter areas, and then if I have to sort of work in the darker areas, I can. So I usually try to use the big flat end of the brush tip to kind of get that light area down first, and then I'll because it does make streaks, but luckily with tree bark, streaks are great. You kind of just make it look like texture. So yeah, just choosing the right marker for the job, I think, is the trick with that. You're right, May. I mean, I don't disagree with you at all. It's true. I think it's a pretty normal thing for a lot of people to be tough on themselves. What I'm doing here, I just got this Tombow 228. It's the green color. I'm just sort of anchoring this log on the ground, just so that I have a good sense of how it will look. I figure this will be in shadow due to my light direction, so I can really kind of use the same color Tombow as the leaves that I did in the foreground. Okay, this is part of that. Just have to make sense of the lines. It's a very complicated page, so I'm not surprised why people ask me to do it. So this will be in shadow. And for leaves and stuff, I just kind of do like scribble, really. find it works great. Okay, and now I'm gonna go to these back trees. So for them, I only have a couple of these Tombow Colors, so I'm gonna use the lightest one I have, this guy here. So the light color that I used here will be my dark color. Now that tree's actually ahead of that, so I can use the same. So I'll do this tree so that way it's an easy comparison. Windy. So I'm using the light color that I used here for the darks on this tree. And this is how I'm going to create depth. And I'm pretty excited. I don't know if you guys do mermaid at all, but I'm a big fan of mermaids, so I think I'm going to start doing some mermaid pages for May, so that's pretty cool. And there's a bunch of color alongs related to that, so I think that'll be fun. Do you guys have any color alongs that you're working on, or let's see here. Oh, Cheshire, this is actually Bluebell Woods. This is my book. I had a bunch of people ask me to do this page, so I thought I would go ahead and get it done. I think my book is very challenging for some, so I'm going to start doing more of these tutorials for my books. That way, hopefully it helps people out who are a little stuck. I didn't intend for it to be difficult. I just, yeah, I don't know. I drew it for myself, so that's my excuse. I'm sticking with that. Okay. So now we're gonna, since that was the lightest color for my Copics, I think. Hold on, let's see. Oh no, I do have lighter colors. Yeah, that'll be nice. Okay. So actually, that might be too light though. Maybe I can mix color it. Okay, so for the lights, I'm just gonna actually go through, and that's what I love about marker, is so fast. Just cover the page. So I tend to do like a really good marker base coat, and then I will go through and add detail and more fine shading and smooth things out if I need to. If I make mistakes, then I'll go through and fix it with colored pencil or gel pen or whatever else I need to. Cool. So you can kind of see, yeah, the mermaid color along, yep. Colors of Sweden. Oh, I didn't know that. I'll have to check that one out. So I guess you can color any Swedish illustrators page. Well, I really want to show you guys. Okay, so you see how we were using the darker color here? So even though this is a color that's pretty much running out, I'm just going to really quick show you how the difference, if I use this as the darks, yeah, that's behind that. Yep. And I'm going to color right through the antenna of that. Yeah, this is pretty much dried out. But that's why it's giving all those marks. But you can kind of see how I would go through and use a lighter color for the foliage as well. So now I think what I'll do is I'm going to swap over to my pencils, and I'm going to show you how I will, I'm going to finish off this guy here, and I'm jumping around now, but it's just because time is limited. We're already at an hour. So I'm going to show you how I have this walnut hollow white, but you can use any white pencil. I just have this guy handy, and I'm just going to blend and kind of soften some of those lines that were a little too harsh, and it's very quick. And I'm just moderating my pressure based on where, like how dark or light it needs to be. And this also just allows you to create more subtle contrasts and variation. Okay, any Swedish illustrator. Well, that's cool. I think that I have, is Emily Lindehall Oberg Swedish? I think I might have quite a few Swedish books, actually. I'll have to look into that. Oh, awesome. Oh yeah, May, yep. You saw my post. Oh, hello, Abby. Hello, cutie. Okay, hello. We're back to visit. Huh? Yeah. Here, guys. Let's take a little kitty break. Hello, kitty. Abby. All right. Fur baby. All right. Anyway. Back to it. She's so funny. You know, I think she's starting to get used to me live streaming though, because she does it a little less than she used to. But that's okay. All right, and then I'm going to grab another blue. So I do want these guys to be more vibrant. Shalene, awesome. Oh yes, I have Hannah Carlson's books too. Yep. Okay, so since I didn't have a nice selection of blue markers, I'm going to supplement the shading and the coloring of the closest bluebells with this pencil. And this is an old pencil, so this is a Spectracolor 1408 real blue. Again, you can use just about any color, bright blue, to accomplish this. I've just lately been really enjoying these old pencils, so I'm good with that. So you can see the grays that I put down, I don't want them to be gray, I want them to be blue, but I use the base gray as it gets rid of the holes, the white holes of the paper, so I don't really have to push that hard. There's no like burnishing or blending needed really. It's just I'm just covering the gray with the blue. And you know how like if you just go straight in on the white paper, it'll give you like white holes, you know what I mean? Like this oh, I'm sorry. It'll give you like these white holes. Well, when you go over a gray or any other marker, it doesn't have those white holes anymore because the paper's already been covered by something. So that's why I do that. I figure get the right tone, the right general, even if you don't have the exact color you want, you can still make it by combining the two mediums together, which is super fun. So these are not going to be gray, they're going to be blue. But let me just cover the gray. So it just sort of speeds up the process a little bit. Takes a lot of the heavy burnishing and blending work out of the process, which is something that I don't like as much. I have hands that can get weak or tired, so pushing hard for a long period of time is difficult for me. So I think that this method is really like the best of both worlds. I can still use the pencil for detail and softness, and use the marker to kind of get everything going. Okay. All right. So, oh, Abby, she wants attention. So I will use the same blue in these background ones, but I'm going to press a lot lighter and use them much more sparingly, just to kind of get the same tone, but since we're dealing with atmospheric perspective and they're farther away, I do want some of that gray in there now because they're going to be less saturated. So I'm mostly just using this blue in the darkest darks. Sort of how I use the dark blue here, I'm using the pencil here. Yeah, I do use watercolor as a base too, May. You're right. Really, it's all any kind of medium like that, neocolor or anything like that, really does speed it up. I love it. I have used watercolor quite a lot, but markers are a new thing for me, so I'm kind of obsessed a little bit at the moment. Oh my. Okay, let's see. So I've shown you the flowers and the trees. I'm gonna go through how I would do the butterfly, I think, just because it's an hour in and I have about 10-15 more minutes I could probably do before I need to feed the kitty cat. Okay, so I have the N15, I think that's black. And in case, I'm just going to go through and show you guys. So I'm going to use the black, but I'm also going to use this dark gray. Let's just check it real quick, yeah. So I'm going to even apply atmospheric perspective to the butterfly wings. So I'm going to use a dark gray for the back wing. Like that, and the little back antenna. And then, oops, just kind of smooth that out. And then I'm going to use the black for the one up close. And it's really subtle. I mean, most people probably don't even notice that I do stuff like this. Oh, abs. I don't know if you can hear the little kitty wants attention. Abby girl. Come here. You want to come sit in my lap? Let's sit together. Yeah. Oh no, that's not what you want? Yeah, I know you want food. She gets medicine soon, so she wants her food. It is allergy season and my kitty has severe allergies, so she needs to take her medicine right on the dot. Oh, interesting. I didn't know that, May. Huh. Well, That's probably why I like them so well. Alright, and where else do I want to go with this? Let's see, let me put a nice little line down here, just to kind of bring it. And then, yeah, I think that's good for now. So then I'm going to switch over now. What color do I actually want this butterfly to be? I think because we have all these blues, I'll make it a monarch. So let me find, do I have a... Oh, I have a Copic that has a yellow. So I'm going to do all the... Yeah, that'll do. I have like a yellow. This is... I don't think it matters really what color you use, but 121 Buttercup Yellow. So I'm going to just go ahead. Let's see. I want this to be... I'm going to do a little border here. Oops, sorry about that, guys. I'm just going to do these really quick again as a base, and then I'll just use some reds and oranges to kind of make it more orangey. So even if you have a limited palette with marker, you can still do quite a lot with them. And here I'm not even worrying about the lines because I'm going to go over it with black, so be as messy as you want. But I want to keep this little spot there and this little spot here a little bit more orangey, I think, like so. And this will, doing it as a monarch will really help with the contrast between all the blues and the background. Aha! Fascinating, May. See, I'm learning something new every day. That's awesome. Okay, so now I have the gray, mostly because I do want to create a little bit of depth. So I will use the gray instead of the black. Like that. Okay, so I do want this end area to be kind of mixed orange and black. I'm not really looking at a photo of a monarch, so it may not actually be a monarch, it might just be a monarch inspired butterfly, but I don't really know exactly how they look, but I'm just gonna go with it. So I'm gonna just do some little dots to kind of feather it out and kind of give it a little gradation. Let's see if you guys, let me zoom in a little so you can see this better. Like that. Okay, and then to separate these two out so they just don't get lost, I'm swapping back over that Buttercup Yellow. I'm going to just highlight the edge of this little part of the wing there. And now I will go over it. Like that. And then let's just, oh, am I on camera? Yeah. Oh, it's so beautiful out today. I'm gonna have to take a walk later. Finally, spring is here. It's been rough. It's been a rough winter here for us. I live near Philadelphia, and it's been just so cold. And now all of a sudden it's spring. Woohoo! So I thought this would be a good page for. Okay, so now I want to create a separation between this wing and this wing. So that's why I use light gray there, because now I'm actually going to go and use the black in order to create a little contrast. Now it's so that. Okay, and now for the little body, I'm going to use that a little bit of a lighter gray just so I can create some dimension. So I'm using the N60, that kind of bluey gray, and I'm going to use that for the top bits. Let's see, how do I want to color this? And then I'll swap back over to the N45 to do the bottom bits. And as you can see, I don't really worry about staying in the lines. Like I said, lines are just a suggestion, not a dictation. Okie dokie. Oh, and look, I've got this little spot here. I'm gonna go in with that dark gray too. Missed it. Little doodle there that I did. Do some dots. Like so. And then, oh, thank you. Hello, Charlotte. That's okay. Don't worry about it. You can totally watch it later. Uh-huh. Oh, thank you. Let's see. So now I'm gonna go through and kind of add some more depth and dimension. So I'm gonna grab a pencil now. I'm using these vintage pencils. This is burnt umber. Again, you can use just about any brown for this if you want. And I'm just going to go through and kind of work it into the area where I left those little dots. I just want to create like a nice, like warm ending, if you will, to that wing. And I'm not worried about the holes here in the paper, like the white showing through a little bit, because I think it actually gives, I don't know if you know like the texture of a butterfly, but it has like this shiny, reflective texture. So I'm actually going to use the paper texture to my advantage here. I'm just working in small little circles. I'm not pressing that hard. sort of getting it in there. And then I'll warm it all up with some orange. I think that'll be quite nice. We'll see. We'll see how it turns out. Like that. And then again with this guy. So you get the idea. I'm gonna swap over to orange. Just to keep going because I'm running out of time. Okay, so this is a Spectracolor orange. This is 1412. And I'm going to go down to the base here and kind of give it a little warmth. And then also at the top. And just sort of give it a little halo at the top. And I think I actually want to fix that little line there a little bit. Yeah, and here too. And back to my orange. And the halo at the top. And then for these dots up here, I'm going to give them that halo, but I'm going to make them a little more vibrant and blend it into that brown. And you'll see in a second why. That one I want to leave a little more yellow. I'm just going to do this really quick. Oh, I forgot the brown on that guy. That's okay. We can go really quick in there. There we go. A little halo there for that. Okay, so now I'm going to switch to a, oh, even though I have a black marker, I'm going to switch to a black pencil. This is just any old black will do. And I'm going to work it into this orange here. In just several spots. Kind of give it a little more contrast, but still allow that brown to come through too. But I put the orange down to kind of warm up the black, so it almost looks like brown when it's done. Just creating a little bit more depth with it, a little bit more like interest. So it's not just all one color. And even though you probably can't see the dots that I've put down very well, they still lend that butterfly texture that I'm going for. They still give that like speckled, like sparkly kind of effect. So that's why I put them down in marker underneath everything else, because even though it's hard to see it, it does give a little bit of something extra to the butterfly. Now I'm just going to shade just down here, just to kind of separate that wing out a little more. And for the orangey area, I'm going to go in with my brown and just, again, kind of create a little more contrast, a little bit more depth. Just to the very base of that orange, where it meets the black. Like that. And so I would go through and do the treatment that I did here to the rest of that wing there, and you know, touch up a little areas and all that. But for the most part, that's how I would do the butterfly. So yeah, let's see. Oh, we've got oh, Hidden Paradise by Chris Lopez. That's a great book. I haven't gotten it yet, but it's on my to buy it list. Nice. There's so many going on. Yeah. Wonderful. I was just reading the chat, making sure that people didn't have any questions. I'm gonna zoom out just so you guys can see where we're at with this page here. So does anybody have any questions or want me to explain something in more depth? I'm gonna go on to complete this page, I think, because it's turning out okay, and I think I can bring it home. So I'll try to record it so that way you guys can see the finished page when it's done. Thank you so much. And thank you guys for joining me and your words of encouragement. I know I haven't been around a lot lately, just been super busy, so it's hard to find time to do this. That's why they're kind of like randomly unannounced live streams. But yeah, hopefully in the next week I'll be able to do a couple more, hopefully. Yeah, thank you so much for coming. I really, really appreciate you guys watching, and yeah, until next time, I hope you guys have a wonderful, magical time coloring.